Who's making watch lists? Who is getting noticed across the country? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up in the third segment, what constitutes a good season for Oklahoma? I said they're going to win big, but what exactly does that mean? We'll discuss that. But Jay, we got a watch list season coming, and we're in the middle of watch list season, I should say. And several Oklahoma Sooners are already getting recognition, but what does it mean for Oklahoma?
The one good thing about these lists that populate the watch list means that they're on somebody's radar. And because they're now on a radar, it means for Sooner fans that there's a good chance that you actually have some good players on your roster. And so we've had some watch lists populate, and I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty excited about it. Mateer, of course, being recognized. He's on the Maxwell Award as well as the Walter Camp. Him and Jaydn Ott. Ott's also on the Maxwell Award watch list and the Doak Walker. So your starting running back and starting quarterback are both on two of the bigger awards for their positions and just being on the offensive side of the ball. And then Kip gets the Bronco Nagurski as well as the Butkus Award. But the one that surprised me the most, and I even talked about it over my channel about a day or so ago, Samuel Omosigho on the Butkus Award watch list. And I only say that because he didn't have the most snaps, in the position. He was probably third, maybe fourth at linebacker when it came to snaps last season. That means that they're right here when it comes to Sammy. And everybody's paying attention to him to see if he's going to have that breakout season. Being on the watch list is a good thing. The question is, who's going to end up on the finalists list at the end of the season?
Yeah, if you're asking me the player I think is most likely to be a finalist, it's John Mateer.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be a finalist for any number of awards, including the Heisman, when it's all said and done. Because, as we're going to talk about in the third segment, Oklahoma's going to have a really good season. And who's been getting the most pub from Oklahoma nationally, wherever it is, it's John Mateer. All eyes are on John Mateer. The Arch Manning hype train is well out of control, no doubt about it. The John Mateer hype train is not far behind. He's being considered a top 5 quarterback in the SEC by many, a top 5 quarterback nationally by a lot of people as well. And if Oklahoma goes and has the season that we believe that they can have, he's very much going to have a significant say in a lot of these postseason awards. So to me, he's got the best chance to be a finalist for any number of awards this season.
I could see that. I think it's probably, to me, it's most likely Mateer. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep those two. But I do think that Kip is one that will be there. And honestly, I think one that may be a surprise was probably going to be Robert Spears-Jennings. And that's mainly because of this, Broken Arrow, Tulsa Stand Up. Robert Spears-Jennings had a 93 grade on PFF on his 599 total snaps last season on run defense. That was tops in the country of all players. So he's rated very high on run defense as a safety. And so if he continues to turn that up, and of course, if you have a safety that's getting a whole bunch of tackles, it's typically not a good thing unless you're bringing them down to stop the run. And if he's doing that on a regular basis, he's going to be a big name. Now, Samuel Omosigho's right there, 5th on our team at an 83 grade on the run defense. He had 301 snaps. He had a lot of snaps, a lot more snaps than I actually even thought. But having around 300, Samuel Omosigho may be one that surprises us. And I think he may he has a chance to end up as a finalist for Butkus. It's a really tough award to get on the list for. Like, really tough. I mean, if I'm correct, Danny wasn't even a finalist for the Butkus Award.
No.
I think that was one way everybody's trying to figure out, wait, how the heck did he not end up a Butkus finalist? And he outperformed a lot of the people that were finalists, but whatevs, they had their reasons for not giving it to him, probably because he wasn't very good in coverage in their eyes. Whatevs.
Lies.
But if Sammy shows and Kip shows that they're good in coverage, good chance they may be up on the list as well.
I think with Robert Spears-Jennings, he's one of those players that has a chance to play his way onto some of these watch lists. Like they will update them as the season goes along, as players, perform, because remember the start to last season, like nobody was creating more splash plays for Oklahoma's defense than Robert Spears-Jennings. Maybe R. Mason Thomas was the other one.
Yeah.
But Robert Spears-Jennings was forcing fumbles, getting interceptions, getting sacks. It was a great, great first half of the season for him. The big splash categories kind of slowed down a little bit, but he was still disruptive and still super effective. And he's going to be he's a force in the middle of Oklahoma's defense. Like he's going to play a lot in the box. He's going to play around the line of scrimmage, kind of as a third, fourth linebacker. And he's going to make plays around the line of scrimmage. I think he's got a great shot to be one of those guys that works his way onto a number of watch lists, including the Nagurski. That's one of those that Oklahoma hasn't had a winner in a really, really long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And it's one of my favorite trivia questions. And I'm just going to give you the answer, really, is the last defensive backs to win the Nagurski were both Oklahoma Sooners, Derek Strait and Roy Williams. Since then, it's only been linebackers and defensive linemen that have won the Nagurski Award.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? I want to say it was Roy Williams in 2003 and Derek Strait in 2001. Derek Strait being the last cornerback to win the award. Or maybe I got those years backwards. But yeah, it's crazy that since then it's gone anywhere other than defensive backs.
Right. That is crazy. Oh, wow. That's wild, John. That is. Can we get somebody else to win it? That's what I'm curious about. They said Roy Williams got it. Why
2001 was Roy Williams. 2003 was Derek Strait.
Why can't Robert Spears-Jennings be the next one? Can he become that next dude? Can he just go out there and be a one-man wrecking crew and go out there and win that award?
If they play him the same way that they played him last year, where he's blitzing and he's, playing that, middle of the field coverage and he's got an opportunity to get interceptions, I don't see why he couldn't play his way onto the list and play his way into being a finalist.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Because it's about highlights, man. You gotta make them highlight plays. And our guy, Robert Spears-Jennings, is a highlight machine. And listen, I'm expecting big things out of him this year, and I can't wait to see him go perform among a number of dudes. This defense is just absolutely loaded with players. Is there anybody on offense that you think could play their way onto one of these lists? And we haven't gotten all the watch lists out, so some of these guys might show up. But who could play their way into some national recognition?
I say the Biletnikoff Award that you could probably sneak Deion Burks on there.
Okay.
There is a possibility on that. I don't know about Outland. If Troy Everett should end up on the Outland watch list, I actually expect him on there because of how many snaps he played last year when he came back from injury. So him or even Fabechi Wewu could both end up on the Outland, which is for the interior offensive line. I don't know. And it was the Remington is for the center. That's probably where Troy Everett ends up, if anywhere. I'm not sure if the defensive line is going to get the respect it gets. We're considered a great committee of defensive linemen. I don't know about individuals. You didn't even see, R. Mason getting much even around some other lists. I know that we saw Robert Spears-Jennings and Ott on the freak list. We have to talk about that another time because the stats that was that was written down by Bruce Feldman, fascinating. But I'd say, if anything, Biletnikoff, we should see somebody on that list. And then probably is going to end up being Deion Burks, if anybody.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for these guys to play their way onto the field or onto these watch lists and earn some postseason recognition, but it's going to take some success. It's going to take some wins. But how many would we consider a good season for Oklahoma? I'd love to hear your responses in the comment sections, or you can let us know at Locked On Sooners on social media as well. We're going to discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.